back. Let's take a look at the cube root function now. So the third root of x, or x to the 1/3 in exponential notation, whichever you prefer there. Let's work with the radical notation first. Let's think about point plotting this thing as well. So let's plug in 0. What's the third root of 0? We say, oh, that's 0, right? Let's plug in 1. Third root of 1 is 1, right? Because isn't that 1 times 1 times 1? In other words, you got 3 of a kind, don't you? So it's 1. Plug in 1, you get 1. What's the next nice one? 8. Isn't the third root of 8 2, right? So 8 would be your next one, you get 2. So 0, 0, 1, 1, 8, 2. Let's go to the left. Couldn't I plug in -2? Oh, I'm sorry, -1. Isn't the third root of -1? Isn't -1 times -1 times -1? See that? See, -8, third root of -8, or -2 times -2 times -2 spits out -2. So you got -1, -1, -8, -2 there. You know, you could get some more in there, like if you wanted to pick, oh, I don't know, 0.5. You know, you want to plug in 0.5. What's the third root of 0.5? You can do that on your calculator, 0.5 to the 1/3, and you get 0.794. So 1 is like 0.794, right? And you put a few more in here, and anyways, you're going to kind of see that this thing's got some curvature to it, about like that. It keeps increasing there. Okay, so there's the third root function, or the cube root, I'm sorry, the third root of x, the cube root function. Okay, so, or x to the 1/3. Let's talk about our domain on this thing. Oops, come on. Okay, our domain, x such that, you notice we could have positive, negative numbers, 0. We got no restrictions on this thing, right? And you can see that left or right on the graph there. So x is an element of the real numbers, or if you want to do that interval notation, you can do that as well. Okay, our range. Let's talk about our y value. You notice how low does this thing go? You see how this keeps going down and down and down slowly as I shoot out to the left. You see how it kind of goes slowly. It goes down, right? Behavior of that thing. And then as I'm going to the right, okay, so this keeps, again, it keeps going down, 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 down. So it goes as far down as I want at y values, right? And to the right, if I'm looking to the right, you see how this thing keeps rising, rising, rising a little bit. Okay, not as pronounced as some functions, but it does, it keeps rising. So you're going to go as far down as you want, as far up as you want. So this thing is element of the reals, or again, negative infinity, positive infinity. Okay, so there's your domain and range on that. So similarly to that square root function which we talked about last time, what would a different function, let me call it g, what would the third root of x, how about -2, no, let me go +2, and then let me go -3, okay? So you say, well, outside of that thing, that's going to shift that down 3, right? And that thing's going to shift it left 2. You could point plot that, right? But I'm going to take that origin and I'm going to move it left 2, so 1, 2, but I'm also got to move that thing down 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's where that origin ends up. Okay, left 2 and down 3. Okay, right there. And then everything else, all those other points, go along with it. And soon enough, you kind of got the old cube root function shifted. Okay, a concrete shift there, if you will. And you know, similarly, what if you flipped it over? What if I did this? How would I you know, that right there, you know, what's that going to do in front? It's going to flip it over, right? So all this, so 0, 0 is going to stay there, but this point right here is now going to move right here. This -1, -1 is now going to move right there, -1, 1. And that -8, -2 all of a sudden is -8, 2. Anyways, so now you flip that thing about the x-axis. Okay, so that's a reflection about x-axis. Okay, let me do one last one here. Let's just talk about, let's call this j of x. Alright, so what's this going to do? So we say, well, first of all, I got to reflect it about the x-axis. And then I'm going to go right 2, and then I'm going to go up 1. Okay, so let's flip it over. So if I just flip it over, I look like the red one right now, don't I? But then I got to move that red one. I got to move that thing right 2, and up 1. Okay, let me put that in black, sorry. Okay. And then everything else the same. Whoops, kind of like that. So that's our j of x. Okay, so that's kind of a feel there for your cube root functions. Okay, thanks for listening. We'll see you guys in class.